Sign in to chat. Why do I have to sign in? Isn't it my stream? Okay. We're back at it again. I wonder if my audio is working. Yo, 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 yo. Okay. We're back at it again. I wonder if my audio is working. Yo, 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 yo. Okay. It's working. So, what's our goal here? Our goal here is we pretty much want to try to cover what DevOps is all about. So we'll call this the DevOps whiteboard. That did not work. DevOps whiteboard. Save. Okay. So first of all, DevOps. DevOps. What is DevOps all about? Well, there's two components. There is development and operations. Now, when we talk about development and operations, we go down this crazy rabbit hole of topics. And so the challenge here is, how am I going to organize all of these topics? Well, first of all, I'm just going to start writing down some tools. So what tools do we know when it comes to DevOps? And what kinds of tools? The first thing that I think when I think about DevOps is immediately deployment. And so I think about continuous integration and continuous delivery and deployment. And so when I think of that, I think of the following tools. First of all, I think about, I don't like the size of this text. Can I make it bigger? I don't have the option to make the text bigger. Man, who designed this application? Or am I like too zoomed out or something? Let's zoom like way in, make a square. Okay, nope, it's just how it is. Whatever. No problem. We'll just fill these out. So, number one, CI/CD off the bat. The first thing I think about is GitHub, and specifically GitHub Actions. And so, what's the purpose of GitHub Actions? The purpose of GitHub Actions is to basically automate integration and deployment. Integration and deployment. But there's so many different tools that can achieve that. So for example, GitHub Actions is just one. Another one is Jenkins. Another one is what's another one? So there's GitHub Actions, there's Jenkins, there's tons. So what other things are there? There's GitLab, CID, CI/CD. I don't really know any other ones, to be honest, but these are the big ones. And even GitLab is like, I might just leave that out, to be honest. Like, I feel like this is the bread and butter of CI/CD. You're either doing GitHub native or using Jenkins because there's lots of plugin support. That's one set of tools. CI/CD. More tools. Since it's all about deployment, I think about infrastructure as code, which brings 3 tools to mind. Number 1, my favorite video game, Terraria. Just kidding. Terraform. What is Terraform? Terraform is an infrastructure as code tool that's basically just used to write infrastructure as code to basically consistently manage the state of your infrastructure. So, Terraform. What else is there? There is also... Oh, I should make this orange, actually. Why orange, you ask? Because it is AWS Cloud Formation. Outside of AWS Cloud Formation, we have Ansible, which is for configuration management. CloudFormation is not that different from Terraform, but it has like its own AWS template version, and also it has some limitations, but it's cloud native, so people love that. If you're using AWS, may as well use CloudFormation, but people like to use Terraform because it has some specific advantages over CloudFormation. What are those advantages? I can't remember off the top of my head. Advantages of Terraform over CloudFormation. There's one big thing that CloudFormation is missing. I'm trying to remember what it is. Oh, of course. Should have known. It is cloud agnostic. What does that mean? Any cloud, hooray, multi-cloud deployments. But Terraform is also written in HashiCorp language, which is pretty common. And there's also this kind of like state management that I was talking about before. So you have something called state files, and along with state files, you can use this Terraform plan command, which you cannot do with okay, I guess I can't bold just only one thing, but you can't do Terraform plan with CloudFormation. It just doesn't have the functionality, but it's really helpful. And then it's like, okay, well, what's the point of Ansible? Can I make these bigger? Yes, I can. So we have these. Might duplicate this. Bring them down. So Ansible is stateless. So it's not like state files like Terraform. Oh, I need to scroll up on this. However, it's more for like software installation. Like that's what configuration management kind of refers to. But like managing users, that kind of thing. So it depends on what your goal is. Because if your goal is just like provisioning resources and like doing API calls, then you'd probably go with Terraform. But if you want like to manage the users and like manage the OS, then you go with Ansible. What else do we have? We have O&M, which I'm gonna write it like that because it's iconic, but I'm gonna add observability and monitoring, which is kind of the bread and butter. Well, now that I'm doing this, I need to like make them all nice. Continuous integration, continuous delivery, deployment. Almost dropped my microphone. Let's bring this down here. So it's simple. Infrastructure as code. Okay, observability and monitoring tools. Well, first one, of course, we have is Splunk. What is Splunk for? Splunk is basically for managing logs from many sources, and it's kind of manual. Like it's kind of like the old original way to like manage your application, your infrastructure, all of that. It's great. It has some limitations, but ultimately, if you're trying to like find concrete logs or stack trace of like something's broken, or you're doing some like deep investigation, then you're gonna use Splunk. But if I don't like that matches. If you want a more high level look, if you want dashboards, performance, and like AI powered like dependency analysis, all that jazz, then you use Dynatrace. And so Dynatrace is more like dashboards, at a glance, dependency identification, code level fixes, identification. So to me, like if you want to look at speed, utilization, and what else for Dynatrace? You're dynamically tracing your various applications, but the thing is that Dynatrace is not very good for log management, whereas Splunk is like exclusively for log management. That's the difference between Dynatrace and Splunk. Are there any other observability tools? If we're looking at like, I kind of want to make a separate section here just dedicated to AWS, because there's going to be so many services for each thing. So for example, we have CloudFormation up here, but for observability and monitoring, we have CloudTrail, and there's lots of things to go down there, but it's basically logging, historical, analysis of like changes in state and like user management. Anything that changes, you're gonna find it in CloudTrail. Now, it's not totally about DevOps, but this is not really centered. Yeah, it's better. I want to say SQL. Can't really have anything without SQL. It's just necessary for everything. But what I'll say is like database management. So under here, you have your number one, super common, Microsoft SQL. And then what else do you have? Trying to use the new colors. You have Postgres. Is that how it's spelled? Postgres SQL, like that. And then there's one more, which is I might have to move these a little bit out. And running out of colors. Let's go back to soft orange. Oh, I haven't used this yet. We have MariaDB. Okay, so this is what we kind of got so far, and this is already a lot of tools. Yeah, so we have like all these different tools. What am I missing? I think I should have another section, which I would probably call like, oh, I know a good name for this section. I will call it sysadmin. So basically system administration. So what is that? Well, most of the time you're going to be working with Linux, and there's so many different flavors and versions of Linux that you're probably going to use. Do I want to add like its own section? I think I do. It's kind of different. So I have one more. I'm going to duplicate this. Drop this here. Scripting. I don't think that that needs a subtitle. So what is scripting? Well, we talk about scripting. First thing off the bat, we got Python. So we have Python, and we got Bash, and we got my personal favorite, PowerShell. So that's scripting. Now I wonder if there's any major tools or categories that we're missing. Obviously, like the actual cloud stuff is a big one, but Oh my god, I'm missing so many things. What am I talking about? Okay. So this scripting. How do I feel about the order of this? I might make some changes. I'm gonna move this sysadmin section up. Cause like Linux is bread and butter. Like you have to be able to like, you know, work your way around the file system and like know some commands and all of that. And then SQL, database management, scripting. I'm gonna move that down as well. Move this up a bit. Gonna duplicate it. Okay, so we have sysadmin. Let's make that stand out a bit more. Observability. I'm like struggling to say that word lately. Containerization. How am I even supposed to like make that sound cool in like less than 4 letters or something? Cont. I'm gonna be a savage and call it VMs. Even though VM is not a container, but it's close enough. It was the beginning. It was the start of containerization or container management, right? So for container management, what do we have? First of all, we have virtual machines, so our good old VMware VMs, which is kind of old and boring, and also has some downfall, making cubes for no reason. Whoa. So after that, we had Docker, which is basically our first version of containerization. So what's the difference between VMs and Docker? Well, if you have a virtual machine, you have something called a hypervisor. I'm gonna do like this. And basically your hypervisor manages your VMs with separate OSs. But the problem with that is if you have an OS for every virtual machine, it takes up too much resources, it takes up too much memory, too much. So it's like too much. So then you go to containerization. When we make a container, like a Docker container, we basically no longer have a hypervisor, but we have Docker, and it does not contain OSs on each container. So each container is basically like self-packaged, and it doesn't have an OS. I mean, it can, but it depends. But supposedly it only contains what the application needs to run. So it's kind of lean in a way. And then of course we have the goated Kubernetes, which everyone loves. And whereas Docker, so VMs and virtual machines is VM management, and then Docker is basically container management. So what is Kubernetes for? Kubernetes is for cluster management. What is a cluster? A cluster is a group of pods. What is a pod? A pod is basically a container. And then you also have a swarm. And a swarm is a group of clusters. So Kubernetes is like Docker on crack, basically. Now, what else do we have? There's like only one more thing, which I might put at the very top because it's like, it's kind of whatever. It's not that special, and it's not really unique to DevOps. Just move that there. I'm gonna say like, what would I do here? I'm gonna call it docs, but it's not just documentation. It's kind of like documentation and administration and coordination. So it's a bunch of shit, basically. I might even double line break this. Make it look better. And of course, for that, we basically have like I might have to move this down because I remembered service now. We all love our tickets. That's a huge part of everything in IT. And then we also have Confluence. And then we also have I'll take it. Jira. So what is ServiceNow for? ServiceNow is basically for ticket management, kind of like administration, progression of cases. Confluence, we have general documentation. It's kind of like encyclopedia for IT stuff. And then Jira is kind of like change management. Now ServiceNow is also change management and approvals. Jira is also for change management and approvals. But what I would say is that Jira is more technical, or in other words, more code focused, and ServiceNow is less technical and it's more like business focused. And then Confluence is usually just, dare I say, a bunch of useless documents posted by, just kidding. It's just a bunch of stuff, by space, lots of information, usually not efficient. It's hard to organize it well. Now I'm gonna have to move CloudFormation down here to IAC, and CloudTrail is also for observation and monitoring. Wow, so this is kind of what DevOps is. It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, if you were to just pick one item from each role, you'd pretty much end up with like a DevOps stack. So for example, like you might be using Terraform and Ansible, but like chances are you're probably just using Terraform. But for Confluence, Jira, Splunk, Dynatrace, you're gonna get both. And like Docker and Kubernetes as well. You might not be using VMs, but you're probably using both of these. Okay, I take it back. You kind of need all of it. You kind of need all of it. And there's even more tools that I did not even discuss here that are also tools, but I wish that I could like make these bigger. But it doesn't seem like I can. So how do we want to progress this? Oh my god, I forgot one more thing. Where should I even put it? I'll put it here because it's kind of like O&M. I'm just gonna call it SecOps because you can have security without operations, but in reality we're just talking about security or infrastructure security. Technically this kind of fits under observability and monitoring as well, but this is kind of more like performance deployment management, and security is more like, you know, security stuff. So for security tools, we have like a few things. There's two really common industry tools. I'll use Red again, kind of underused. The first one we have is Sneak, and the second one that we have, what color can I even use at this point? Blue, too many. Purple, okay, I'll take that color. So Sneak, and then there's Sonar Cube. And then there's also a new one that I believe is called, what is it called? It's kind of like vulnerability scanning. So Sneak basically scans open source dependencies, containers, infrastructure as code, and it detects vulnerabilities and lets you know so that you don't, like, you know, deploy some like unsafe code. But it's kind of basic. It's like basic analysis, you could say. And then SonarQube, which is such a weirdly named app. It's kind of like static analysis for bugs, code smells, maintainability, and it's like focused on source code, whereas Sneak is kind of like it checks like third party like repositories and libraries to find issues, whereas SonarQube, it goes into your code deep, but it's like focused on your code, so it's kind of like for architectural purposes and quality. Now there's one more tool that I kind of forget. Has a funny name. What is it called? Ba, 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 ba. Is it like Black Sheep or something? I swear it's something like that. Man, I can't find it. Okay, let's go to the Google and let's search for vulnerability scanning tools. Black lock, blue closure. Wow. There's so many. I can't believe I can't find it. It's called like Black Sheep or something. Oh, is it actually called Black Sheep? No, it's not this. I'm gonna have to call a friend on this one. It's got a funny name. Okay, it's called Black Duck. That's what it's called. Black Duck. What is Black Duck? So Black Duck is basically Black Duck is a software composition analysis tool. So it's enterprise standard. Inventories all open source software. Maps out dependencies. Finds vulnerabilities that are like public. So Sneak is used for like developers. It's kind of like dev level. But Black Duck is like deep. It's like security, legal, compliance teams. So auditing. Okay. Oh, okay. Are we there yet? Have we gotten down all of the major components of DevOps? Also, when it comes to SecOps, there's a lot of AWS stuff for this. Like, oh, we got the phone ringing. Okay. So yeah, it is Black Duck. We have Secrets Manager. We also have, I need to just like standardize this. I don't know what's going on with these little guys. So for AWS, like there's so many things. So I would say for system admin, you'd basically be using the AWS CLI. For documentation, you'd be looking at the AWS documentation and also the AWS white papers. For CI/CD, I'm pretty sure there's a tool for it. What is it? Okay, yeah, there's like four. There's like 4 solutions for that. I'm gonna put them all in one because it's all so similar. There's code pipeline, then there's code build, and then there's code deploy, and then there's code catalyst. It may not be very CI/CD, but I want to throw in Lambda somewhere in here. But I guess that's a service, so it doesn't really count, right? Like, I don't think it counts. So I don't know. This is tough. It's getting kind of messy. How should I go about this? I mean, these are all AWS services except the documentation, of course, is documentation, but these are all services. The CLI is kind of a feature, not really a service, but like, I don't want to get into like EC2, S3. Also for, damn, actually, no, it kind of makes sense. So for example, over here for VM, I would put EC2, right? Because you can select the Amazon machine image, and so you can basically pick your OS. Oh, and of course, I'm gonna make a whole other thing for this. EKS, Elastic Kubernetes service. That's huge. For SQL, well, we have SQL, we have AWS RDS, we also have AWS Aurora. Is it Aurora? It's like managed. AWS Aurora relational database, fully compatible MySQL Postgres. Okay, so it's very relatable. And then we also have DynamoDB, which is NoSQL. But there's a fully managed NoSQL database, and it's not. What am I looking for here? Oh, DynamoDB is fully managed serverless. Is there a non-managed one? Like AWS NoSQL services? No, yeah, it's only managed and serverless. They did not even bother to make, because with RDS you can pick RDS or Aurora, where one is not managed and one is managed, but looks like DynamoDB is unmanaged, or sorry, it is managed and it's serverless, which is cool for scripting. There's no AWS like scripting language that I know of. However, where did I put Terraform? Yeah, we have CloudFormation. So there's like AWS equivalents for all of these pretty much. So I might even do this and this and put it on that side. Yeah, I'll take that. So we have AWS, and then on the other side of AWS we can have cloud. What's the word? I wrote it down. It's in Terraform. Cloud agnostic. Wow, they made it so religious. Like cloud is a religion. So we have this guy. Damn, I didn't want to do that. Can I do like boom, boom, boom? Oh, I declicked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just move them that way. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I can't move them for whatever reason. They're also not lining up, which is annoying. Close enough. Okay, so we have cloud agnostic. At this point, I might as well get rid of tools because this is DevOps. It's all about the tools. Everything is related to the tools. I should make this like bigger, or maybe I can like do that. I can do this. Right, so this is DevOps. I don't think I missed anything. For scripting, like the scripting kind of falls into like the same categories. So as a matter of fact, just to be consistent, I'm gonna put these in the middle, which is not consistent, but that's okay because it fits in both sides. Yeah, and even like, you know, Postgres and MariaDB, Microsoft SQL, like you could do all of this. You get to pick which type of SQL you want. When it comes to VMs, of course, for Kubernetes and, you know, picking your instances. This is like container / instance management, thanks to the AWS side. Oh, I wrote Secrets Manager twice. I would just throw in like guard duty because it kind of looks after, you know, an infrastructure. Boom, boom, boom. I want you in my room. Thank you for your comment, viewer. This is kind of too big now. Okay.
A safer Ontario means playgrounds with no drug injection sites nearby. It means fewer cars being stolen thanks to more police officers and prosecutors. New jails so criminals stay behind bars. Public spaces without encampments. And bail reform that protects our neighborhoods. We're making every corner of Ontario safer to make all of Ontario safer. That's how we protect Ontario.
Okay, it seems there's one more thing, which we need here. And the final thing is artifact. Boom, 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 boom. Artifact management. So what is artifact management? Well, when you have artifacts, you need to manage them. It's a cop-out answer. It's kind of hard to describe, but we'll get there. So for example, we have JFrog Artifactory. And on the AWS side, we have AWS ECR, which is Elastic Container Registry. So also technically, like, I put secrets manager here, but now that we have an artifact section, it would logically go here. So yeah, that's how that is. Is there anything else to... Man, there's also Git, like GitHub, Bitbucket, but whatever, screw that. That's like 99% of the time, it's like the same as GitHub. It's not that different, right? But artifact management is basically storing, versioning, and managing the file produced during your software build. So if your CI/CD pipeline is basically producing something at the end, artifact management is like the final storage for those products before they're sent to the customer and deployed. So when you write code, you basically package it and it ends up as like a Docker image or a jar file or like a binary, and it creates immutability, so it never changes. So like if you're ever going to update the app, you create a new version. And so like the original code that you were testing before is the same code. It helps with version controlling and rollbacks, dependency management. I've only really seen JFrog Artifactory. I don't really know of any other artifact management. But on the ECR side, you know, I take it back. Secrets Manager should stay under SecOps. Yeah, and then for these, scripting is scripting. Holy. It's a lot of stuff, to be honest. It is a lot of stuff. Just knowing the AWS side is crazy enough. But all these cloud agnostic tools. it's a lot. So I need to get some sparkling water. So I'm gonna go grab that quickly. Look at my t-shirt. Do you got it? Like a boss? Like Bowser? Boss mode? Got it? This is now the DevOps katana. Just kidding, it's a decoration. And it's safe. Because it's not sharp. I'm getting a bit restless. This is a lot of DevOps. Boom, boom, boom. Do I still have one viewer? Viewer in the chat, please identify yourself. Who are you? Who are you? HAEUN 159951. Why are you so interested in DevOps? What's your goal here? Boom, boom, boom. My top fan. How did you know it was Black Duck? Please donate. Donate $1 to my DevOps education. So, let's get some jerky. I need a jerky break. I almost dropped all my jerky. Mango jalapeno. So what's my goal here? actually a freelance web designer. I think scripting deserves to be up here too. It's kind of, you know what? I'm taking scripting out. I'm taking scripting out and I'm adding it to the sysadmin section because logically that's what it is. Can't be sysadmin without scripting. What am I drinking? I was drinking an Asahi, but this is a bubbly cherry flavored sparkling water. It's actually pretty good. Mango, jalapeno, beef jerky. So in terms of importance, no, it's not a good way of organizing. I'm just gonna do reverse order because why not? It's a free country. At least that's what they say, right? Why is nothing lining up? Yes, better. I'm pretty happy with this. Cool. So, are we missing anything? Anything major? Okay, I think I know where I want to take this. And we're going to take it to the DevOps cycle. This diagram has been done so many times. And I kind of want to make something like this. Interesting that we didn't really run into these. Chef, puppet. I don't know why Eclipse is in there. That's kind of random. Eclipse is just like an IDE. It's not like a DevOps tool or anything, but all right, which one of these is nicest? This one's pretty nice. All right, I'm taking this one. It's kind of like Google themed. Okay, so I know I'm kind of crazy. So this is DevOps. So now my goal is to basically take each component and put it on here to see, like, logically, where does everything fit. So let's take and we'll do one for AWS only and one just for cloud agnostic. So let's start with the cloud agnostic. Okay, so what do we got? First of all, we have Linux, Python, Bash, and PowerShell. Off the bat, I think this is in the operate section because I really wish I could change the font size on this. It's kind of annoying. Like, I just have this huge box and there's like nothing in it. Man, I really want to fix that, but that's going to be such a pain. Whatever. Let's make it small again. Okay, the backspace is not working. This Microsoft app sucks. I don't know why it's so bad, but it is very bad. So we have Linux, and along with Linux we have Python, Bash, PowerShell. Chances are, if you're using Linux, Python, Bash, or PowerShell, you're probably not like in the build phase. You're probably like, you know, checking for something or like writing a script for something. It's not gonna be like, you know, like, what are you gonna do with any of this information if you're not just operating? These are kind of useless if you have nothing deployed. That's how I see it. Next, we have this right here. So this is basically SecOps. Now, Where does it fit? Where do you think it fits, viewer? 159951. It's really hard to say. I think it would go in the code section, because at first I was thinking test, but it's not really testing, because you're not gonna test code that's not secure. So I would say that, like, I'm gonna put it on the inside, and I'm gonna just like simplify it. I hate this app. It's so bad. I should have used Excalibur or something, because like I just cannot work with this app at all. But anyway, we have Sneak. I'm putting it in the code section on the inside, and we have Sonar Cube, and I'm gonna put this right on top of Sneak, because these are like very related, kind of serve similar purposes. And then Black Duck, which is like on an enterprise level. Let's bring it down here, maybe just like that. Why did that happen? These might need to get smaller or like overlap each other. What a strange application. Next, we got these bad boys. The containerization gang. Isn't Sonar Cube can be under monitor? Okay, let's revisit Sonar Cube. I'm also just gonna lock this. So Sneak is vulnerability analysis. Sonar Cube. Well, what does Sonar Cube do exactly? Because I thought it's like checking before you deploy. Static. Fight AI slop. Okay. So it's for continual inspection. So that would move it over to here. Although, the weird thing about this diagram is that supposedly this is the CI. hate this app. This is CI and this is CD. But when I think about SonarCube, it sounds like CI, which makes me think like, is this really CI and CD, or is it just a process that has been convoluted into this process? But I'll take it. But I guess Sneak and Black Duck are still in the code section. And then we have these guys. So virtual machines, Docker, Kubernetes, these are all deployment models. That's how I see it. You can deploy as a VM, you can deploy as a container, you can deploy as kind of whatever you want. So I'd put them there. I have used it before. Wherever we create a PR or run the CI pipeline, it detects security vulnerabilities or errors and suggests fixes. You must resolve all comments. Wait, so when you say you run the CI pipeline, are you talking about SonarCube? Like, is this security vulnerabilities? What you're describing to me, it sounds like Black Duck, but I don't know because I've never used SonarCube, to be honest. We integrate it with CI pipeline. Like these. So you can't build until you resolve the issues, right? So I think that sounds like what you're getting at. So I guess it goes back here. I mean, what I'll do is that I'll put it on this side of the thing. And then next we have DBs. I don't even know if DBs fit into the CI/CD pipeline. Do they? Like, it's just a resource. I don't think it goes anywhere. DB, no. You don't think it's like, I don't know, these are just resources, to be honest. So I think you're right. I think it doesn't really fit in CI/CD. I mean, obviously, like, it's part of the planning. It's part of the planning, and like, you have to deploy these resources, but like, you're not gonna code the DB. Okay, next. I think ServiceNow, Confluence, and Jira. I'm gonna put them at the intersection of plan and release, because it actually has to do with both. It's part of planning and it's part of releasing, but it's not part of code build and test, and it's not part of like deploy, operate, and monitor. In fact, I'm actually gonna move it like to the lower side. Like here. What the hell? This is so weird. It's so hard to like diagram stuff. Anyway, we're almost done. Okay. GitHub Actions and Jenkins. That's like the whole thing. Not really. It's more just like release, I would say. I'd say GitHub Actions and Jenkins is main. Well, I don't know. It's kind of build test as well. It might be more build test than release deploy, because like, I mean, GitHub Actions and Jenkins are gonna cover everything in CI/CD, so good enough. Terraform and Ansible. This is kind of weird because I'm pretty sure I would put Terraform in plan. I don't know, kind of plan code. But then Ansible, I would put in operate, because it's kind of continuous. And then we just have these left. Splunk and Dynatrace, really easy. Very obvious. It's going to be monitor. Both are going to fall under monitoring. It's very logical. Makes sense. And then Artifactory would kind of be like, it would be at like the very end of like operate and monitor, because like you finish things and you put them in an artifact store. Okay, so that's good enough for now. Thanks for tuning in. How long did we do this for? I don't know. It doesn't say, but take care. Thanks for tuning in. This is kind of what we got. Hopefully we'll make some more progress tomorrow. Ciao.